So for the last few decades, if you wanted to become a billionaire, your best bet was probably to learn how to code. And so during the pandemic, when I had a seemingly limitless amount of time, I decided that I also wanted to become a billionaire. So I decided to learn how to code. And although I gave it up about a year later and roughly $1 billion short of my goal, I still learned a tremendous amount of life lessons that I still use to this day. And in today's video, I want to share with you 5 life lessons that I learned from coding that you can apply in your next creative endeavor. Lesson number 1, do it every day. I am a true believer that the single most important factor that is going to set you up for success is not the amount of skill that you have, it is not the luck that you bring to a situation, it is actually just showing up and doing the work every single day. The reason that I think that this is the most important factor of them all is that you have to prove to yourself that you are the kind of person that you want to end up being. And so if you're trying to be a YouTuber, if you're trying to be an entrepreneur, if you're trying to be a writer, you need to act like you already are one. And so the question becomes, what do those people do? And the answer is that they show up every single day and they do the work. You need to do the same. Lesson number 2 is that you need to stop worrying about where to start. So before I started coding, I did an endless amount of research trying to figure out what the best language that I could learn would be. So I was asking things like, what's the most commonly used language? Which language is going to be the best in the future? Which language has the most lucrative career opportunities? And while those questions are totally okay for you to ask, what I failed to realize in that moment is that it didn't actually matter at all what language I picked to learn. The important part is actually learning how a computer thinks. Your time would be much better spent just learning the thing itself, because that base level of knowledge that you're going to pick up when you first start is going to be more important than you will ever realize, and you can take that knowledge and go down any path that you would like to in the future. And so the lesson that I'm trying to get across here is that whatever you're trying to do, whatever creative endeavor you have planned, please stop worrying about where you should start and just start instead. Lesson number 3 is to build things for you. So when I first started coding, I was blindly following projects that I found in books or on YouTube tutorials, whatever it was. I was really just following whatever project was hot at the moment, whatever project was popular and I thought could benefit me in the future. However, after some time of doing this, I realized that I was just less and less motivated to actually code every single day. And I realized that the reason I was feeling this way is because I was working on projects that I just didn't care about. By following these projects that were hot or popular, I lost motivation to actually do coding every single day. And so I decided to start focusing on projects that actually interested me, that I thought were interesting, regardless of if they were popular or if they were going to be useful for me at some time in the future. I just picked projects I wanted to work on. And what happened was that I actually started to really like coding, and so I coded more and more. And so let's say you're starting a YouTube channel. Well, what you need to do is you should actually focus on videos that are actually interesting for you to make, videos that you are passionate about. Because if you end up following the hot videos, whatever is viral, whatever video you think is going to get you the most views, yes, that might be satisfying in the moment, but I can promise you in the long term, you're not going to be motivated to do it and you're going to burn out. And eventually what's going to happen is that you're going to stop making videos because you are no longer motivated like you once were, and you're not even going to give yourself the chance to get good at the very thing you want to achieve. Lesson number 4 is to steal other people's work. So something that I found really useful when I started coding was to just completely rip off other people's work. And so what I would do is that if I saw someone's website that I thought looked really cool, or if I saw a project that was really interesting to me, I would literally try and rip the project off one for one. Now you might think this is a waste of time. What benefit is it for me to go off and steal somebody else's work? Well, the truth is, by actually recreating other people's work, it's actually going to allow you to develop and build a lot of those necessary skills that you can then use to go forward and do something original in the future. It's been said before, but nothing is truly original. Great artists have stolen from their inspirations for generations and generations. And so where you should start is that you should find people who inspire you, find work that inspires you, and rip it off directly from them. What you're going to be doing at the beginning is just learning the basics, and you're actually going to be developing the skills that are necessary for when you actually do create something that is original. And lesson number 5 is that you'll never know everything. I remember when I first started coding, an acquaintance of mine reached out over social media to basically say that it was really cool that I had started coding, as he was an experienced software developer himself. And selfishly, I took this moment as a chance to actually ask him a question about a problem I was having in a project that I was currently working on. What he has said to me that day has stuck with me, and he basically said that I need to figure it out on my own. Google is my friend, and even the most experienced software developers in the world Google things on a regular basis. And the lesson that I learned in that moment is that nobody knows everything. In fact, we all know very little. And I know that's a very trivial thing, but in that moment, it was incredibly eye-opening for me. You often think that you're gonna get to a place in your journey where everything's gonna come really easy to you, you're gonna know everything, you're not gonna have a single question to ask because you're gonna be such a pro. But the truth is, that's never going to happen. There's always going to be problems that you are not going to know the answer to. And the difference between someone who is average at something and someone who is really, really great at something is that the person who's really great at something knows that they know nothing, and they are endless learners. And so those are 5 questions that I learned from coding that hopefully you can apply to your next creative endeavor. If you enjoyed watching the video, make sure to drop it a like and subscribe to my channel to get more content just like this. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you in the next one. And until next time, stay curious.